When Mount Etna in Sicily rumbled this spring, news outlets around the world flashed dramatic photos of lava and ash. But Martin Wikelski was skeptical. The biologist who directs the Department of Migration at the Max Planck Institute of Animal Behavior in Germany checked in with his most trusted forecasters, 12 goats, grazing on Etna's slopes. These goats have worn his lightweight tracking tags for more than a decade. Before each of the last 7 major eruptions, they'd alerted the scientists with unusually frantic behavior. This time they were calm. Further research showed that the widely reported eruption had looked visually striking but was actually minor and caused no damage. The goats were right, Wikelski says from his office near Constance, Germany. Therefore we still say, in goats we trust. A monarch butterfly carries a tiny transmitter that is intended to provide information about its flight behavior. Credit Empire Maxim. Wikelski is the innovator behind a global vision, decades in the making, that could change animal research and conservation forever. ICARUS, the International Cooperation for Animal Research using space, equips creatures from bats and birds to goats and giraffes with lightweight smart tags that beam data to satellites and CubeSats, smaller satellites the size of a shoebox, revealing real-time insights into animals' rhythms. Most scientists studying migration patterns or endangered animals only have the means to do research in a defined area. But often the most illuminating answers are global. What if animal data from around the world could be linked to answer pertinent questions about the spread of bird flu, say, or to predict disasters? Investigating global animal migrations with an intelligent sensor network of animals, the Internet of Animals, opens a new frontier in harnessing animal observation as a tool for conservation. From volcanoes to poaching, from climate shifts to disease outbreaks, ICARUS can gather and interpret data from creatures big and small to help protect ecosystems and sometimes people. He likens this grand endeavor to the search for gravitational waves or the beginning of time. If everything goes well, SpaceX will launch the ICARUS 2.0 satellite later this month, enabling the reading of innumerable data across the globe. When Wikelski first had the idea in 2002, he hoped he could have the system up and running by 2005. But cost, international diplomacy, hazards and leaps in tech innovation slowed him down, forcing him to repeatedly start over. Wikelski is well connected internationally. His bio includes postdoc work at the University of Washington in Seattle and the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute in Panama, as well as professor positions at the University of Illinois and at Princeton University from 2000 to 2008. He eventually found a cooperation partner in Russia, which launched the first ICARUS receiver to the International Space Station in 2018. Weighed down by negative news, our smart, bright, weekly newsletter is the uplift you've been looking for. After a few years of gathering data, however, the cooperation between Germany and Russia came to an abrupt end in the spring of 2020 after Russia invaded Ukraine. Now Wikelski is eager to finally see ICARUS 2.0 come to fruition. I hope the SpaceX rocket won't explode. There are always variables. The next 4 launches are already in the planning for next year. ICARUS 2.0 will build on MovieBank, the Max Planck Institute's open-source platform that has been monitoring over 60,000 animal species since 2007. A worldwide community of researchers, conservationists, rangers and citizen scientists is already using MovieBank, continually observing and adding data to build a more comprehensive picture of animal behavior and biodiversity. The platform also enables them to communicate with each other. Thus, a researcher in Kenya can access data in Galapagos using the algorithm encoder designed in New York. Nearly 500,000 citizen scientists contribute to MovieBank via the Animal Tracker app, which allows them to upload sightings of individual animals with photos. The network has already opened a vault of new insights. For instance, we learned that birds communicate amongst each other to warn about obstacles like windmills, says Wikelski. Migrating birds get this information from local birds, and we can see that they are then able to avoid obstacles like this. It's just like we learn from locals or other tourists which streets in Chicago you better not walk at night. Eventually, MovieBank will relocate to the renowned Natural History Museum Sinkenberg near Frankfurt with the intent to preserve the living data for eternity. Detailed knowledge of individual animal behavior also allows his teams to detect outliers, such as the white stork who took a different route from his companions and ended up in the Bavarian Alps in the winter. Baffled how a stork could survive there at that time of year, one of his ornithologists drove 5 hours to the Bavarian village, where she found the stork happily hanging out near a farmhouse and demanding food by knocking his beak against a window. A traditional folk tale says that storks bring babies, and because the stork's arrival coincided with her daughter giving birth, the grandmother then named him Hansi like her new grandson, provided him warm baths for his cold feet, and fed him a daily diet of minced sheep liver. We were speechless, Wikelski remembers. We witnessed that the young white stork had actively adopted a farmer's family and asked for food from his human friends. Another example of saving species with tagging is in Africa's Kruger National Park, where a network of vultures doubles as anti-poaching sentinels. When more than 2 vultures meet in Kruger, we assume they're gathering around a carcass, potentially a poached rhino, says Wikelski. If a vulture dies, therefore, there's a chance poachers have had a hand to play in it. And since Wikelski can detect that loss of life almost in real time, then we immediately send rangers, sometimes by helicopter. The system has saved human lives too. When a buffalo gorged one ranger and another suffered a knife wound, their teams used